Hi, it's Deb with the Congruence Code, and today I'd like to reveal 7 signs that you might be living incongruently. So before I dive into that, you might be wondering, well, what the heck does incongruence mean, and what does congruence mean, and what are you talking about? So let me back up for a moment and just share with you what I mean when I'm talking about congruence. So congruence is about being in agreement and being in harmony. When we talk about being internally congruent, it means that within myself, it means that my head, my heart, and my gut are all on the same team. They're all in alignment. Everything is feeling in alignment, and when I have a gut instinct about something, I'm following through with that. I have the courage and the commitment to follow through with that. When something comes up on my heart, I'm not stuffing it down. I'm speaking up, speaking my truth, honoring myself. My thoughts are aligned with the truth of who I am. And because of that, I'm able to live in the world authentically. So I'm also in agreement and in harmony with the world around me. Doesn't always mean that you agree with everything around you, but that you're being authentic with that. And so you're not pretending, you're not people pleasing, you're not hiding, you're not playing small, you're not holding back. You're really able to show up in this world as all of you. So let's talk about when we're living incongruently, what that means and what that can look like. So incongruence might show up as internally, like it's when you get that gut hit about something, like, hey, don't go there, or don't talk to that person, or don't get into that relationship, or you shouldn't go eat that thing, or whatever it is, you get it, or you need to go put yourself out there and go, take this adventure, and you don't take that advice of your gut instinct. Your head says, no, you're going to look stupid. You're going to have nothing to say. You're going to be made a fool of. You're going to look silly. And you start to second guess yourself. Or if you feel hurt in your heart, someone says something that hurts your feelings, then your head says, oh, stop being so sensitive, get over it. This kind of stuff can happen inside of ourselves and we don't even think about it. But what goes on is that we start to separate and disjoint. We start to create these compartments within ourselves. Our head is operating with certain thoughts over here. Our heart feels shut down. It's closed off. It's moving over here. Our gut, we're totally disconnected from that. We're not feeling grounded. We're not feeling in our power. And we're walking around in the world and we know somewhere deep inside that we are here to help people. We are here to shine our light. We are here to be leaders. We're here to speak our truth. We know these things deep down, and yet it feels like there is this chasm between who we know we're here to be and how we're actually showing up. And all of that discrepancy that falls in between, that's where shame can show up. That's where addiction can show up. That's where self-sabotaging patterns can show up. That's where obsession can show up. And that is absolutely the world of incongruence. And so we might experience it as, well, I just don't speak up. I feel inauthentic. I'm pretending. But really, what I want to share with you today, I want to share with you 7 access points where you can really start to tap in and consider, am I living incongruently here? And here's the beautiful thing, is that when you're going through this exploration, it's not to be in a place of condemnation, but rather to be in a place of curiosity. So here's the thing, is that you probably, if you're listening to this recording, then you probably are already someone who has a pretty good life. Life is pretty great. And maybe we're just talking about like 20% of your life that just feels like, you're just not living how you know you're here to live, who you know you're here to be, the person that's just all of you, that's putting yourself out there, that moves beyond your familiarity zone. I don't use comfort zones. There's nothing comfortable about the comfort zone, but moves beyond your familiarity zone and really, really launches into that next level of playing bigger, being bigger, shining brighter. I have a sense that if you are listening to this video, then you probably are already in that. So we're not looking at this, at these 7 areas to judge or to make ourselves wrong or bad, but really with the aim of, I want to see where my blind spots might be, because I'm here to be better. I want to be a better me so I can help other people be a better them. And I know that I can only go and take people as far as I am willing to go myself. And so I want to go further. And so I invite you to engage with this exploration from a place of, I want to go further within myself so I can take others further. So let's start with the first access point here. And at this access point, this is really at the base of the foundation. You can consider this being at your first chakra. For those of you who are into the world of chakras and you know where that is, kind of tailbone, connected to your legs and your feet. If you are incongruent in this area, then some of the qualities that you might be experiencing are anxiety, feeling alone, feeling disconnected to your body. There's oftentimes a feeling of obsession and of just not feeling okay, just as you are. There's sometimes a sense of chaos, and like a detachment or a feeling disjointed, feeling isolated, disconnected from others, disconnected from yourself, disconnected from the world around you. At the second access point, this is kind of second chakra area. If you're experiencing incongruence in this area, some of the qualities that you might be experiencing are self-judgment, a lot of self-judgment, lack of worth. So there's a lot of lack of worth, lack of value stuff that comes up about here. Shut down creatively or holding back creatively. Those are some of the things that can come up in this area. And this feeling of like, really sticking to what you think you know about what you need, almost like you're bracing against life, like really trying to figure it out on your own. Those are some of the things that can really show up in this area. Definitely the judgment, a big time. Judgment about others, judgment about yourself, and a lot of that worse stuff comes up. So just notice if those conversations, when you're looking at that 20%, notice if some of those things are cropping up for you. When we get into the third access point, we're now working in the area of the third chakra, the solar plexus, the core. Incongruence in this area can show up as self-doubt, second guessing. So here is also a lot of hemorrhaging your power. So this is where people pleasing can show up, and proving and performing and pushing and really, working really hard to get others to like you, or being really caught up with how others are perceiving you and receiving you, almost like you're not fully in yourself. So you're looking to others to validate you, to help you to feel accepted, to help you to feel loved, to help you to feel your worth. And so just notice if those kinds of patterns come up for you. A lot of self-doubt, and then a huge one that shows up here in the incongruent patterns is control. So the tendency for control, which is really interesting, because there's this dichotomy of doubting yourself, but then somehow that going either into more dependence on the external or going into more control and trying to figure it out and creating more rules and more rigidity, and your world can become much smaller and it can feel really tense. So just notice if those kinds of themes come up for you. At the fourth chakra, when we get into the access point, the fourth access point, here is where, again, we can be challenged with resentment, anger, blame, shame, fear, guilt. Guilt can also show up at the second access point, but guilt here, grief here shows up a lot. Also, like that feeling of actually not really being able to connect in with your feelings, not really knowing what you feel, or feeling really shut down emotionally, feeling like you've got to hold your heart really, really tight towards you because you don't want to be taken advantage of, or you don't want to be hurt, or feel like you don't know how to be around other people, you take on other people's stuff, or you just completely isolate, close yourself off. Those are just some of the things that can happen at that fourth access point. When we move into the fifth access point, or the throat chakra, this is really where we can come across inauthenticity. That feeling of pretending or not speaking your truth, not honoring yourself, being out of integrity, not honoring your yes or your no, shutting down here, stuffing your feelings. That's where a lot of that stuff can come up here. It can create a lot of problems. There's a lot of physical problems that happen each one of these access points too. So here I see a lot of thyroid issues coming up in this area as well. And then the sixth access point, where we're really here in this third eye space, this is again where a lot of negative beliefs, a lot of negative thinking can cloud and crowd our minds. We can feel muddy, we can feel confused. This is where it's like all we want is to feel a sense of peace and ease, but it feels like we've got to figure things out all the time, and life is hard, and all the pressure is on us, is on our shoulders to figure stuff out. And so there's a lot of focusing and pressure and negative thinking that happens here, a lot of limiting beliefs. So just notice if that stuff shows up for you, and just, be in consideration of that, just open-minded consideration. And then finally, at the sixth access point, at our crown here, at the seventh access point at the crown, this is where we really come across that part of us that feels like a fraud, that part of us that is really holding back, that part of us that is working with this imposter syndrome. People are going to find out I'm not the real deal. And so you have a tendency, again, to play small, to hold back, to cut yourself off. But then there's also this other part of you that's like, no, but I know that I'm this, like almost like this feeling of grandiosity. Like, I know that I am the shiznit. Like, I know that I am here to do some great things. And yet there's like, but then you're kind of stunting yourself and staying stuck. And that your mind is constantly focused on what do I need and how can I move ahead, and, what are others thinking of me, and am I looking good? Am I being approved of in the world? So there's just a lot of self-focus, even though you really want to be helping more people all the time. So that list right there, I know I just kind of sped through it really, really quickly, if you want to get a deeper dive in each one of those access points, or as I call them, gateways, because they really truly are gateways to unlocking the key to full congruence, then I actually you can go ahead and send an email to me. I'll put a link below because I have actually a full congruence checklist that goes into more detail of each of those access points, and also goes into some of the physical or physiological things that you might be experiencing, the aches and the pains, some of the stuff that might be showing up for you if you're living incongruently in those places, and then also looking at, if you are congruent, what that might look like, what that might feel like. So I've got a whole checklist that shows you all of that. So it's really, really easy for you to go through and just have an assessment. And again, this stuff is really designed for you to get more clarity on where you're at. Because when you are able to step into deeper levels of congruency, you're able to be in that inner alignment, that inner agreement, that inner harmony, and you're able then to harmonize with the world around you. You're able to be fully you, all of you, authentically all of you, and share that authentically with the world around you. It's so amazing. This is where I watch I watch addictions and obsessions and self-sabotaging patterns fall away. Let me tell you, addiction cannot live in a congruent environment. It just cannot live there. And so instead of focusing on what do I need to do to make myself not go to that addiction, how can I fix or control the addiction, I say, let's focus on becoming internally congruent, which will not only allow you to access the truest, fullest expression of you, but it will actually create an internal environment where addiction just can no longer thrive. You naturally have a sense of inner trust. You feel guided. You feel okay. You feel grounded in who you are. You trust yourself to make healthy choices. You feel safe sharing yourself and opening yourself to others. You feel safe in your body. You feel safe connecting from your body. And in that space, you naturally and authentically have the confidence to shine your light, to put yourself out there, and to help more people. This is the stuff that just flows as a natural byproduct of being congruent. And so the aim of the game is no longer how do I fix what's broken in order to be able to, bootstrap what I need together so I can have the outcome in life that I want, but rather let's actually go ahead and get free from the stuff that's blocking you, from the power that is already flowing through you. Come into full congruence, like open up that combination lock at every single access point so that you're able to fully receive the gifts and the guidance that is wanting to shower itself on you at all times. The universe is like, here, I want to give you this gift and this guidance. And when you're living incongruently, you're literally playing energetic pinball. You just can't absorb it. Your mind is off here and your heart's shut down here and your core, it's like you actually cannot metabolize that. And so how beautiful to be able to get the clarity on where you might be a little bit out of sync and really have a look at, hey, where am I in sync? And how can I do more of that? And be able to open yourself up to receive more that is already your birthright, that's already wanting to express itself in you and to shower upon you. So in order to help you with that, what I've done is I have included, and I've put a link below of 7 congruence considerations that you can ask yourself that, again, will help you. So there's the checklist that you can email me about. If you want me to send that to you, I will send that to you. And then there's also these 7 considerations that I really want you to have, because these considerations are like a daily inventory that you can take, and it'll allow you to really just get honest with yourself and get humble with yourself and have that wake-up call and really, decide, I want to align more. Where am I? Well, I'm not going to give it away. You can go check out the questions. You can consider them yourself. I really recommend that you print them out and you just have those by your bedside, and you consider that stuff every day, every morning, every night, and really look at those ways that you can come deeper into you, because I know that you are listening. If you are listening to this recording, then I already know that you are someone who is here to help more people, because this would not be of interest to you if you were not interested in going further yourself so that you can take others further on their path. And so I promise you that if you are able to align yourself more into your own true congruency, not being who you think you're supposed to be, but being who you truly, authentically already are, I am telling you that universes open up to you, that opportunities open up to you, that flow and finances and friendship and fun and all the things that you might be wanting more of, fulfillment, it all opens up to you. And I want you to have that, because you living your light lights up the whole world, and then we all win. So I hope that that was of value for you. See how fun it can be to talk about incongruence. It does not have to be a dark, heavy conversation. It can be light. It's very, very light when we can just look at those nuances of how we can come into more congruence within ourselves so that we can truly, truly move forward in this life and be all of us. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, taking this time out for you. I look forward to connecting with you more next time. Check out those links below if you want to get more on the checklist and more on the considerations, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Mwah.